Now, I was going to create the score, but I thought it's better to actually get this unhealthy food and get it to change its costume when you shoot it. So the idea is you shoot the cake, it turns into, I'm just going to put in a random healthy food Sprite for now, but we will use the year 2 child's image at the end, but I'm going to get it working before we do that. Right, so I'm going to add a food, and there you go, a nice banana. Okay, so I'm going to shoot this, and it'll turn into this. So I go into the code for the food, not the target for the food, okay? And this is a little bit tricky, so you're going to have to concentrate, okay? So when we put the game to start, what I want to do is when the target is touching the food, and at the same time I press the space bar, then that changes the costumes. Okay, that's the general idea. We can do it. It's a little bit tricky, but it's not. We're going to use a forever loop because it's for the whole of the game, and we're going to have to use a conditional. Remember the conditionals? If touching those things, then switch the costume. Okay, so that goes into the loop. You can see we've got this shape here. Hexagon, not hexagon, yes, hexagon, yes. And we are going to pop in kind of what the conditional is, and I'm going to need if it's in sensing, because it senses that it's touching, right? So if touching, not the mouse pointer, but it'll be if touching the target, and at the same time I'm going to have to do the space bar, I think, and the space, oh no, there it is, and the key, the space bar, is pressed. So those two things at the same time, they won't fit in there together. So I've got to look at the controls to see if there's something that I can put in. Not in the controls, not in these. It's operators, that's it. Here we go. Something and some, there. Can you see that? Okay, if touching this and that. Not all, this. So if touching the target and the key bar is pressed, then what is it going to do? Then it's going to change from that costume to that costume. All right, so when the key forever, the forever loop, the conditional, if touching target and that, and then we switch the costume. That is how it looks. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to pop that in there, and I'm going to test it using trial and error. So that should work. If I've manually put it on the cake, and then hopefully that's going to work. Oh, no, I don't know why, but the costume is hidden. I think that was from when I was playing around with it before. If you ever get that, the sprite is there, but it's just hidden. Can you see these numbers moving around? That means the sprite's moving in a different way, but it's hidden. So what I've got to do is at the very start is to show the sprite now. Watch, it's going to appear. I hope. You never know. There it goes. Bang. Shoot it, and it's changed to the banana. I'm happy with that. And then game over. Obviously, we're going to extend the time that they can play. How can we change it? I'll tell you what, I want that banana, which will be the kids' fruits image, to move around for a couple of seconds and then hide it. So you can see I've used that show command there. I'm going to use a hide command, but that would hide it instantly. So I need to tell it to wait for a second or so. Can you remember we saw a wait somewhere? There you go, in the controls. We saw a wait there, so that needs to go... switch, wait for a second and then disappear. You might want to wait for 2 seconds or something like that. Well, let's see what that looks like. Trial and error. Wait a minute. I think I'm going to have to go back from the game over. Oh no, the game over thing works. Okay. Right, did you see what happened there? Okay, it didn't switch the costume back to the unhealthy one. I need to switch the costume back to that, but automatically. So we tell it to do it. So we've used that command there, the purple one, switch costume bananas. We're going to use the same one. It's how it looks, but at the beginning, not in the loop. I think those two, it doesn't matter which order you put them in. Remember, sometimes it does. Try it. Okay, that works. And then it disappears. You might want to change that using trial and error, 1.5 seconds or something like that. I'm going to try that. Is that any better? And then disappears, right? So I'm going to leave that there for now for this video. So what we've done is we've used a forever loop, a conditional. We've put two factors in with our conditional. It's got to be touching the target and it's doing that. Switch the costume, wait a second, hide. And then we must make sure it works by putting it at the beginning back to the cake. The next video will be using another variable which will be creating a score, and we can use that here when you've shot it and it turns the costumes into the bananas, then you just say add to the score 100 points or something like that. But that will be the next video. Okay, hope that makes sense. Good luck.